Getting a 14 terabyte hard drive in the mail, what do? You plug it in your computer. Trust me, bro, is what they say. So 14 terabyte gaming build to hook up to a mini PC, a laptop, a computer, and it has everything from Atari all the way to PlayStation 5, including AAA rated games, both some remake, remastered games, but everything from Grand Theft Auto 5, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy, it's on here. Even some more remake games and things like this. And then you got your Nintendos, your Segas, your Sonys. It's all here, whether it's a handheld or a console or an arcade game. Massive arcade set on here as well. So check out the chapters on this one. It's a big 14 terabyte. Let's go ahead and explore what's on here, what's going on with it, my thoughts. My computer already has DirectX installed, so I could just boot this right up. And right off the bat, you have a front end here where you could pick other front ends. So Tekno Parrot takes you to Tekno Parrot. Launchbox takes you to all the consoles and handhelds. Play Night will take us to the PC games. Retrobat and Coinops takes you to the consoles and handhelds. And then there's even a Hyperspin for all your arcade games, like your Mame games, Atomiswave, Naomi, things like that. So the first stop we're going to go into is PC games here. I'm going to scroll through all the PC games that are included on the build. There are a few other games like Elden Ring and Final Fantasy that aren't on this screen, and those are in the PS4 and the PS5 categories because there is no PS4, PS5 emulator. They're basically computer ports. So those are also included on here. You just have to access them from one of the other front ends. So make sure you take a look at the bottom of your screen in the YouTube video. I'm going to put chapters because I want to go through each front end so you can see how it's organized. And a lot of people have questions on what exactly is included, as well as, how it's all organized. And so that'll answer a lot of questions. As I'm checking out each front end, I'm going to also be playing some games. So you're going to see gameplay scattered throughout the video because I wanted to make sure I tested things and played games as I went through all the front ends to make sure that all the front ends were in fact working, that it wasn't just one of them working. But there are quite a bit of front ends here. So next up, we're going to do some gameplay on the PC games, and then we're going to move over to Hyperspin next. So we are now in Hyperspin, and there's actually two Hyperspins here. This is the main arcade one, and there's going to be another one that I'll play at the end, which is just going to be your Tekno Parrot and your Taito Type X and the newer arcade games that are going to require a lot more horsepower. But as you see here, there's a lot of different collections. Like, for example, I'm in the Street Fighter collection, and in there you're going to have every single variation of the Street Fighter ROM from Street Fighter 1 all the way up to like Street Fighter Alpha 3. So here is the PlayStation's in here as well. There's some consoles not, but remember PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, those are just PC ports of those games. Then we got Neo Geo, Neo Geo X, and Neo Geo CD. You're also going to see your Atomiswave, Naomi 1 and 2. You're going to see all your Mame games and Final Burn Alpha. But the first screen you saw here was the all games. And so in this particular Hyperspin build, it has 54,000 games on it. So remember, this is just one front end of like 5. So there's over 100,000 games on this build, with over probably 60,000 of them being arcade-based games, while over 40,000 are going to be console-based games. And then there's all the handhelds as well that I'm bundling into the console category. So here you got kind of a mix. You'll see as we go through the video, it's kind of hodgepodge together. But for the most part, that's the general vibe of it, that the consoles are going to be in Retrobat, Launchbox, and Coinops, and then you have the arcades in the other genres. So we're gonna go ahead and go through more of these collections. They do have light gun games for those of you who want to hook a light gun up to this. That's always a lot of fun. You just gotta set up your light gun no matter what, depending on which one you're using. And then, like I said, Mame, two-player Mame games. They have it set by decade. They have it set by the publisher of the game. And then they have all the different collections like Metal Slug, Frogger, Marvel vs. Capcom. So we're going to play some NBA Jam in a little bit, and we're going to play some Marvel vs. Capcom. But for those of you who want to see all the different categories and what all is included, I'm doing a rough mix here.
What's up, a brick? Going. But great defense. Hardaway grabs the rebound.
Level 2.
So this build does have big box on it, which looks beautiful and it's amazing, but it's hard for me to show you all the games. So I'm going to load up regular Launchbox, which will show you more of the games. But you do get both in this build, big box and regular Launchbox. So I'm just going to go ahead and the arcade is primarily empty. You're going to want to go to the other area. Yeah, there's a couple in a couple of these. Open bore. I got open bore on here. But it's all empty there. Okay. Because most of these are consoles. So computers, you got Atari, ST. In the upper right corner, you can see how many games there are. 1145, 30 games on the Commodore, MSX 123, MSX 253, Scum VM, only 61, Sharp 68,000, 310, Sinclair. And then for some reason, they have Fortnite and Fall Guys, which those are both free games. I don't know why they're even on here. But okay, they're there. All right, here's the consoles. Here's the fun part. So 3DO, Japan, 43 games. 3DO USA, you've got 175 games. So we'll do a quick scroll of that. You can use some duplicates here. Some of the duplicates with CD-based games, there's like a CD part 1 and part 2. So that's why some of it are duplicates, but sometimes they just do have 2 copies of the same game. 24 games on the Amstrad, Amiga CD32, 164, Vectrex 41, Mattel and Television 140. Xbox, you do have 61 Xbox games. It looks like you are seeing just screenshots and not box art. You can see, oh, it's on screenshots. Let's see boxes. Do we have boxes for Xbox? Yes, we do. So there you go. There's what we have, except Buffy the Vampire Slayer seems to be missing. But to give you a little Xbox there. Xbox 360, 114 games. So I'll scroll through these as well, just so you get an idea of what's there. Fair 2, Diablo, Lego, Project Gotham is on there. NEC PCFX 70, Super Graphics 5, TurboGrafx 1608, TurboGrafx CD 46, Nintendo 64 Europe. I think that's just US too. Yeah, that's gonna be 240. So it is missing a few games there. Although I bet if you go on the other one, we'll probably have it. Let me just scroll down here, make sure there's not another Nintendo 64. And then Nintendo 64 DD, there's 10 games there. NES 888, so there's going to be all your Nintendo games there. Nintendo Famicom, you have 215. Nintendo GameCube, this is where a lot of your data is, over 600 or 638 games. Again, CD-based game, that's why there might be a few duplicates for like a CD Part 1 and a CD Part 2. There's also a lot of franchises with multiple games for this system. Something that's interesting about little builds like this is, you still get games that, you need accessories for, but you'd be surprised there's a lot of emulation little things built in for like motion controls and things like that you can still use to play a lot of these games. So Lord of the Rings, you got Zelda, you do have Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Party 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and Luigi's Mansion, Nintendo Satellaview 85, Nintendo Switch 192. This is pretty cool. It's quite a nice Switch library here. A couple duplicates like Captain Toad over there. But it does have Super Mario Wonder. It does have both Zeldas, Tears of Kingdom, and the Breath of Wild. It does have your Kirby games. Super Mario Deluxe is really cool. Bowser's Fury's on here. And then the Pokemon. All the Pokemon games are on here as well, which is pretty cool. Those are fun. Red Dead Redemption, and then all the Sonic games. Even the new Mario RPG remake, and then Super Smash Bros., Mario Odyssey, and then both Mario parties are on here. And then Xenoblade as well. Virtual Boy, all of them at 25. Nintendo Wii, 887. Not all the games, but that is a big Wii library. That's going to have all the primary games you want. Yes, there was a lot of shovelware for Wii. It doesn't have them all, but that's still a good collection. Same with the Wii U. These are going to be all your good games. Most common ones: Super Mario 3D Worlds, the Sonic games, Super Mario Bros. And Super Luigi Bro U, Minecraft Wii Edition, Super Mario Kart 8, and then the Zeldas on here as well. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. These are some of the more popular games. Even has Toad on there. Philips CDI 55, Sega Dreamcast 333. Pretty, not all of them, but decent Dreamcast set. With the Dreamcast, what you want to do is if it doesn't have a game you want to go ahead and check a Naomi and Naomi 2. Sometimes they put the games there, especially on these international hard drives. Sega Genesis hacks. These are like fan-made games, homebrews, and Metal Sonic, for example. You have 159. This is a fun little area to play around with. Sega Master System 335. Sega Master System hacks 15. Nintendo 64 USA. It does have all of them. I'll make sure to fix that. And then SNES USA 915. Okay, it has all of them. All right, there you go. All the NES, the NES, this is only 91, but these are hacks. Okay, and then the NES up here was complete. So there you go. It's all there. It's just kind of funky how it's all in here. So all the Nintendo 64, and then the WiiWare. These are like little mini games you could buy in the App Store and stuff. So they're there as well. And then Nintendo Famicom, they're all there. All the Nintendo 64, all the SNES. Oh, and here's your PlayStation 2. 639 games. Massive PlayStation 2 collection. Look at all those games. I don't know about all the sports games. I would pass on the sports games, but somebody wants those sports games. I'm sure they had some good memories playing them. Battlefront 1 and 2, Monkey Ball's Fun, Tony Hawk, Poker, etc. Not as many hacks for the Sega Master System. Sega Mega Drive Europe, 521. Hacks, 29. Japanese games, 395 for the Sega Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis. Sega Saturn, 306. So this is another cool area I like. There's some good games for Sega Saturn, and because they're discs and because there wasn't a lot of them made, they're very hard to collect. And so the emulation on this is awesome. SNES CD MSU are games with better soundtracks on them. I highly recommend checking these out. That's quite a collection there. SNES Europe, 517. Sony PlayStation, 1,800 games. So there you go. That is a nice collection of Sony PlayStation. It's a massive, massive. You name the game, they probably have it. Although, as we're going through here, there is a lot of duplicates. So let's call it 1,500, 1,400. That's pretty cool. The Namco Museum does have 5 discs. So volume 1 through 5. All right, nice collection there. Sony PS2, only 2 here. This is not where the PS2 is. The PS2, I guess, is going to be in a different operating system is going to be in Retrobat. PlayStation 3, though, 173 games. So a lot of PS3 games. That's cool to see. Wolf Among Us, Tekken, Sleeping Dogs, Mortal Kombat. All right, handhelds. We got Megaduck at 24. Nintendo 3DS, 493 games. So yeah, all your Pokemon games, all your Mario games are going to be on here. Luigi's Mansion, Mario and Luigi, Dream Team. All your Pets games as well, if you're into that. Pilot Wings Resorts, 3D Mario Land, Super Smash, Tetris. Nintendo DS, only 181. That's actually kind of a small DS collection. But it does have... Actually doesn't have that great of a collection for DS, so be warned on that. Game Boy Advance hacks, and then do they have Game Boy Advance? Yeah, see, this is actually, you know what this is the portables are in a different area. This is one of the areas we have to go somewhere else. I'll show you in a second, or maybe I showed you earlier. Neo Geo Pocket, Pocket Color. Okay, PSP 823. This is another really good area. I'm saying good area because this is 14 terabytes, so where are you getting your best bang for your buck? CD-based games, games that are a gigabyte or more or larger, that's going to be your Sony PSP, your GameCube, PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, Nintendo Switch, those PS2. These systems are large, and so it's nice to have all this data, and you don't have to go get it, download it, all that stuff. Simpsons game. So massive PS2 collection, 823. All right, and that's PSP Minis, and then Supervision. Do we get Nintendo Switch? I guess Nintendo Switch. That's funny because Nintendo Switch, should it go in portable? Depends if it's docked or not. Here are 880 games. That's the same. Super Nintendo is also... See, now Super Nintendo has 2,172. So that's pretty wild. Nintendo 64 should have the 553 now, so that's just wild. Okay, GameCube, that has the same number as before. Nintendo DS, we're up to 6,800 games now. What the... Okay, so there's your Nintendo DS. Remember earlier? We were saying that's not that many games. Well, there you go. It's actually bigger than you thought. Nintendo Wii 887. That's about the same. 3DS. It's about the same. Nintendo Switch 203. That's about right. Sega Saturn 306. Dreamcast. Here we go. 333. I think that's slightly higher. And then PlayStation 1800. That's the same number. PlayStation 2 641. That's about the same number. PlayStation 3, 172 games now? Actually, I think that was about right. That's what we had last time. And then here we got PS Vita. I don't think we saw PS Vita on the last one. So yeah, it does have PS Vita as well. And here you go. It's so random. Like the green... So the GameCube's not in here, for example. Right? And so that's what I was saying. You do have to go... Oh, there it is. It does have GameCube. What were we looking for that we couldn't find somewhere else? But I guess this... Yeah. I guess this does organize it. Okay. But no arcade games in here. If you want arcade games, you need to go into the Hyperspin. Now the Coinops build, I don't really understand this one. I think this is the first time we saw Jaguar. Maybe not. But all these other ones, yeah, I just don't see a reason to even have Coinops on here at all, except to say, like, hey, you get an extra front end. That's all I see with this. It's not organized at all. It's a mess. All right, finally, Tekno Parrot. And these games are awesome. There's some really cool light gun games in here. Just arcade games in general. Variations of games like the Pokemon Stadium or the Mario Kart GT. And then, newer games like Transformers and Batman Returns and all kinds of Transformers, all kinds of really fun games. I think a lot of people will like this because it's pre-set up for you. But this is where you do need to turn off your antivirus because just the way the Tekno Parrot ROMs and system works, your Microsoft will assume that they're viruses. So, that's why I say if you're worried about, if this is your primary computer, I do not recommend using it. If you're worried at all, I am not responsible for anything like that. But from my experience, it's often the emulator as well. Whether or not there's additional viruses or anything like that, I have no idea. I cannot comment on that. But if you're wondering why these don't work, or you're having issues with that, that's probably why. If you're not going to play these Tekno Parrot games, you can leave your antivirus on, and all this stuff is just fine. So, awesome games. A lot of people like that it's pre-set up, and this is another bonus that you get for 14 terabytes. These games are a little larger because these are not small games that you're getting here. So why you're buying the 14 terabytes. So this is the hard drive. This is just the external enclosure. They're just buying some third-party external enclosure. Here's the 14 terabyte hard drive. It's labeled and says it's running at 7,200 RPM, which is good. It's better than the 5,400 RPMs that a lot of these companies use. Yeah, it's fine. The external enclosure is fine. It's not great. It's not bad. It works. It has a little LED light on the start button. Comes with the power supply and the USB 3 cable, 3.0 cable. And then no crazy markings on this hard drive to make me seem like it's not legit or anything like that. And then I'm just sliding it back together and putting it on. When you first boot this into your computer, this is what the file system looks like. I'm going to go ahead and play the video that they play. They basically want you to, this is the file that's in there. But they want you to basically turn off your antivirus, which is like so fishy. Like that's the first thing, you get this hard drive and the first thing they're telling you to do is turn off your antivirus. It's just funny to me. I could see why there's gonna be so many skeptical people out there. Like I said, this is not my computer. I'm watching the video right now. If you're skeptical at all, one, just don't follow these instructions, and then two, you can always put this in a computer that's not connected to Wi-Fi or the network at all. You do need to make sure you install the prerequisites if you haven't done so already. It's the second folder on the image here. And go ahead, there's a file that just does it all for you, and then you can go ahead and load the application after that. Any kind of Xbox One, 8-bit DOE controller, Xbox 360 controller will plug and play. No controls should be changed at all. If you go with something a little crazier, more exotic, you might have to rebind your controls. But other than that, it's plug and play. And yeah, it's over 100,000 games actually. Pretty wild. 14 terabytes. You do get that external USB enclosure with the dedicated power supply. And I've used this on Windows 10 and 11. It works just fine. I don't know why you'd be using Windows 7 or 8. And then it does come with instructions on how to use it. Really cheaper on AliExpress. It depends on where you find it. But the return policy is just as good and the product is the same. And then for those of you who watch my channel from like the UK or somewhere else, you will be able to get these on through AliExpress and have them shipped internationally, where you're going to have a harder time doing that through Amazon. Again, it is over 100,000 games. I asked about, why so many front ends. So I could see this, that there are better emulation settings and things. Like, for example, in Retrobat, you can get to advanced settings really easily. And I agree that Launchbox Big Box is probably the best looking. And then as far as Hyperspin, you can get the most out of the arcade because it does have like the largest arcade collection, and it organizes like the different franchises for you very well. Although you can, those of you who are deep into the stuff, that all these front ends can be manipulated and optimized for everything that they're saying here. but they did separate them all out. That was something I was like, why so many front ends? Because you got the Tekno Parrot front end, the Hyperspin, the Retrobat, the Launchbox, the Coinops Next 2, or also Core with a Core add-on to get you started, and then you got the Play Night for your PC games. So while it may seem complex at first, this setup ensures games run optimally and lets users focus on genres they love. So I agree, as far as, getting into your genres, I would like it a little bit more organized myself, but it is subset. So arcade games, Techno Parrot games, most your consoles, AAA rated games. That's it. This is on the pricier side because you are paying for that 14 terabyte hard drive. Every terabyte costs some money. That being said, if you want one of the cheaper Chinese imported hard drives out there with the most amount of content on it, this is one of them. They do make bigger hard drives, but not ones that you could find on Alibaba or fairly cheap either. So this is probably one of the best and largest budget retro gaming hard drives on the market. As far as the sweet spot for me, I like the 3 terabyte range because you get for like around $100, you get a lot of this stuff that's on here already, but you are missing quite a few stuff. So you have to ask yourself, do you need it? Do you not? And then for those of you who are like, what's the best of the best? I've done reviews. There are some 36 terabyte and even 96 plus terabyte builds out there, but those typically are not coming from China. They're coming from probably an English speaking country, and you're going to pay a lot more because those people want to be paid, and they get nicer hard drives as well. So it's kind of you get to pay what you get what you pay for in those instances. And like always in all these things, you can build this yourself. You can download Launchbox, get your ROMs, plug and play them in, just build the games you want, and build your own 14 terabyte build. I encourage that. I think that's awesome as well, but I just want to share with you some of the different options you have out there. So anyways, that's what I think. Let me know what you all think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.